Hello again. So this is now the end of day 15 of this daily Pipecat development vlog. So I'm going to run through what I did, explain what I'm going to look into next, and do a quick demo of the simple and flow bots I've been working on. So let's begin with the code base, which I've now pushed to the main branch. Even though it's not quite finished yet, that doesn't work perfectly, but good progress has been made today. So one thing that's happened yesterday, a new version of Pipecat Flows got released. Let's have a look at the Discord server. In fact, so here Mark is announcing that. And so the headlines are, dynamic flows now support node functions. So instead of having a global transition callback in the flow config, you now specify transition callbacks per function in the node config. So I'll show you what that looks like in the code now. Actually, there's another thing I'll tell you about. So custom actions are now auto-registered. You can just add them to your node config, including a type and a handler. Now, I haven't actually updated the code for that, and I'll show you that too. So that's something I'll look into tomorrow. So let's see in the flow config here. If we do an external diff. So in these configs, now I've got, for example, transition callback handle and the transition handler there. Used to be that you had a global transition handler function. Where is it? It's a new flow manager. Aha, that's this over here, right. Used to have that transition callback there, and this was a separate function somewhere. You had actually these mappings to map between function handlers and transition handlers, and then also this handle navigation thing over here, which was the transition handler. Transition callback, handle lead qualification transition. Which one was it? Somewhere here there was a handle lead qualification. There we go. Handle lead qualification transition. Just there. Okay. So that's one thing. The thing that I didn't do though is I am now still manually registering the execute navigate action. Still doing that there. Okay. So that's one thing. I also finished and tested the simplebot prompt. So I'll show you that. Okay, so I actually decided to modify this drawing inspiration from a document produced by a Matthew Cohn on LinkedIn, who himself drew inspiration by attending a masterclass by a Alejo P1. I believe that's how you say his name. I don't know how you say his name actually, probably butchering it. Anyway, I'm going to link his masterclass on YouTube in my YouTube video description, and also Matthew's announcement of his document on LinkedIn. I'll put that in the description. So I simplified it for my own purposes. So he had a pretty complex description of how you could move from node to node, going to supernode and subnode. I have sort of like taken something, drawing inspiration from Haskell, where you basically just provide every case that can happen in the node at the same level, and then you only transition to another node when explicitly directed there. But I've also said, I've included a line that he had before, which said, follow the script closely but dynamically. Now, if I need to expand on that to make it understand that that means that you can actually transition to different nodes, I will do, but so far it's worked pretty well just with this. So yeah, with this in place then, I use this as a template to transfer it over to the flow node, because that structure actually lends itself quite well to transitioning to or mapping to a nodular structure, nodular with an N, that is. So let me have a look here, external diff. Right, so yeah, I haven't quite transitioned to the full complex structure that I want to yet. So for example, greet and get permission to record isn't quite there yet. There's actually just greeting and establish use case as one node at the beginning, and the Q&A one isn't done yet. But the qualify and the capture consultancy details are done. Not working perfectly yet, but getting there. So then another thing I've done today is I have established that this works, this approach with the complex nodes and the intelligent agent. So this is worth pursuing. And also, instead of previously I had a single navigation node which handled navigation. Now I'm handling that in pre-actions. I actually first transitioned to try and handling it post action on nodes. So for example, at the end of the qualification stage in a post action, you could handle the transition there, but it's actually better to insert the transition dynamically as a pre-action on your end call node, the call close node. So I've been doing that. Let's see if I can show you that. Pre-action, so execute navigation here. And this is the logic to actually qualify the agent, qualify the caller even. And yeah, you modify the close node, and then you set the next node to the close node with the modified thing. And there's the execute navigation, and there's also a message to add using TTS say as the handler there. So this was also an interesting thing that I found out. So TTS say, text to speech say, is a function that you can use to uninterruptible statements using the agent. So this is going to be a way I'm going to be looking into of having an introductory message which the user can't interrupt. So for example, if you want to have on the record that you're speaking to an AI and that you'll be recorded, that's one particular use case. Another thing that might be cool to look into is with a complex pipeline, you could have an LLM tasked with establishing whether or not a person has been rambling for an extended period of time going off topic, and then you could interrupt them with the agent by saying something. That could be useful because that's not something that I've seen actually done before. So what else? Yep, I think that's pretty much actually everything worth mentioning today. So now let's just do a couple of demos. So I'm just going to run the simple bot first and the flow bot. The simple bot hasn't got any tools connected, and the flow bot isn't using tools perfectly well right now, but we'll see where they are.
Hi there, I'm Chris from John George Voice AI Solutions. May I know your name, please?
Sure, it is John.
Thank you, John. Are you interested in a technical consultation or voice agent development?
What's the difference?
The technical consultation is a paid meeting where we discuss your specific needs and provide detailed advice on the best approach. Voice agent development involves building a custom solution, starting with a free discovery call to discuss your needs. Which service are you interested in?
They both sound good to me.
We recommend starting with voice agent development as that includes initial discovery discussions. Shall we proceed with that?
Let's do that.
What tasks or interactions are you hoping your voice AI agent will handle?
I'm hoping it will handle out-of-hours calls.
What's your desired timeline for this project, and are there any specific deadlines?
Haven't really thought about that. There are no specific deadlines. I'm flexible.
Just a rough estimate would be helpful. Are we discussing weeks, months, or quarters for implementation?
Let's say weeks.
What budget have you allocated for this project?
I have no budget allocated.
Our development services begin at £1,000. Is this acceptable for your project?
Yes, that is acceptable.
Before we proceed, I'd like to quickly ask for your feedback on the call quality so far. You're interacting with the kind of system you might be considering purchasing, so it's important for us to ensure it meets your expectations. Could you please give us your thoughts on the speed, clarity, and naturalness of the interaction?
Not too bad.
I've navigated you to our Discovery Call booking page where you can set up a free video conference with our founder to discuss your needs in more detail. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you choosing John George Voice AI Solutions. Goodbye.
Okay, so it doesn't have even the end call tool actually, so I have to manually end the call still. So let's run a Flowbot now. See the difference.
Hi there, I'm Chris from John George Voice AI Solutions. May I know your name, please?
It is John.
Thank you, John. Were you interested in a technical consultation or voice agent development?
What's the difference?
A technical consultation is a paid meeting where we discuss your specific needs and provide detailed advice on the best approach. Voice agent development involves building a custom solution, starting with a free discovery call to discuss your needs. Which service are you interested in?
Oh, I don't know. They both sound so good. What would you recommend?
We recommend starting with voice agent development as that includes initial discovery discussions. Shall we proceed with that?
Yes, let's do that.
What tasks or interactions are you hoping your voice AI agent will handle?
I'd like it to handle outbound calls and appointment setting.
Great. I'll record that as your use case. What's your desired timeline for this project, and are there any specific deadlines?
There aren't any specific deadlines. I'm flexible.
Just a rough estimate would be helpful. Are we discussing weeks, months, or quarters for implementation?
Quarters.
Thank you for that information. What budget have you allocated for this project?
No allocation yet.
Our development services begin at £1,000.
That's fine.
Our development services begin at £1,000. Is this acceptable?
That is fine, yeah.
Our development services begin at £1,000. Is this acceptable for your project?
Yes, that's acceptable.
Great. I'll record that as your budget. Before we proceed, I'd like to quickly ask for your feedback on the call quality so far. You're interacting with the kind of system you might be considering purchasing, so it's important for us to ensure it meets your expectations. Could you please give us your thoughts on the speed, clarity, and naturalness of the interaction?
Not too bad.
I've navigated you to our Discovery call booking page where you can schedule a free consultation. Do you have any more questions?
Okay, so as part of the end call node, I'm actually going to have it doing the Q&A as a thing. It's just not fully implemented yet. So it's going to transition to the Q&A node, which is going to be one of the initial options also. And then it will end the call after that once it's done answering questions. So yeah, there's still a few things that need to be sorted out. Works pretty similarly. I have to figure out why it was getting into a loop when it came to establishing the budget there. That was interesting. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. You have a wonderful rest of the evening, whatever you are. Good night.